All right, my friend, please do so. Thank you.
Most gracious and heavenly Father, we come to you this evening with hopes and prayer and faith. The hope is that things will work out in our world because there's so much turmoil in the world. And our faith is that we will be able to be part of what makes this a better world. So we thank you, Lord, for all the gifts that you've given us and the patience that you've allowed for us to put up with all the misgivings that we've heard over the years. And we look forward to what the gifts that are about to come, and we pray that you guide us into making the right investments in the right people in the right places. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. Okay. We're going to go ahead, and I see Iko is locked on. Good evening, Iko.
Good evening.
Always to have you. We're going to what I want to start out doing is just go through and see if we can answer some of the questions that have been sent to me or have been on the room or in the Winston chat. Turn my light. Isn't it? It's the older we get, the less we are able to see. How about that? There. I had to turn on the light here. All right. The first question was from ZJB, and that was, are we still waiting for the announcement of asset back? Folks, please, if you're coming in, make sure that you mute your phone, unless you're going to ask a question or answer a question. So it's *6 to mute and *6 to unmute. So here we go again. Are we still waiting for the announcement of asset-backed currency signaling the completion of the RV? And this was, I guess this was from a long time ago, as one of the Intel providers had his own room talking about a long time ago. So that is
Yeah.
Okay. I think we got him. Okay. Those of you that are coming in with phones, Mike.
It's going to get down to about 30.
Okay, at this time I'm going to put us on the lecture so I can just go ahead and read these questions. And those folks that are wanting to do something can let me know. Okay. So the question we had was about the asset-backed currency, and there's been a lot of talk about that. In fact, there's been discussions about President Trump and some of the countries getting together and signing final documents. And I think we've had an asset, a gold agreement in action already. It's just that we're not gold backed yet. And I've had so many people that have told me that, which I already knew, but we're just waiting on that moment for it to happen. There are some that are saying that there are countries that are trading in asset back already, and that may be true. How many of you have any knowledge of that? And again, I'm going to put you on a Q&A. That allows you to raise your hand, and I can select you from there. So you could go ahead and do that. If you want to answer the question or have another question, you can do that. All right, so Sonny's Place, have you heard anything on your end about asset-back versus gold-back and when it's supposed to start? Or Iko?
Well, you know what? First, I just want to thank Ted for his thoughtful prayer to open up our conference call.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. And it's been, I think, I have a couple of good sources. And I was told Christmas time, just before, we were almost ready to go. And then something happened and held us back, whether it's banks, what's going on, or Wells Fargo. I don't know what it is. Now I'm kind of thinking that this may not happen now until near the end of January.
Okay.
So much is going on with Iraq. Half of Iraq is for the U.S., and the other half is for the Iranians. I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess. So are the banks. So.
Yeah, and the sad thing about that is that there's been plenty of time to take care of business before this turned into such a mess over there, and yet it has. So there we go. Ken, did you have something to say? I'm going to pick you right now. Go ahead. Ken, you can talk now. Okay. If you want to say something, go ahead. All right, the next question. Go ahead.
Did she unmute herself, or did she mute herself?
Well, he might have. I see Ken as being unmuted right now.
Okay.
So he's in the queue.
Away for a second.
Yeah. So he can ask his question if he would like. Otherwise, we'll go to the next one. If the bank decides that our ZIM is counterfeit, will they be obliged to hold our notes, or do we have the right to take them away? I wouldn't trust banks, and I believe it's very likely they may pull a fast one. That's from English White Knight, who is probably not on the call right now because he's in the UK. I don't think that we really have any, especially if you're in some group that's already sent their notes in, whether it be a dinar, a dong, or any other currency, ZIM, whatever, sent it in, and it's already been verified, and I don't think you have anything to worry about there. However, if you bring it in and it hasn't been checked, well, they're going to have to test it, and I would suspect that it would more than likely, the longer you have it, the less likely it might be to be counterfeit. But the turning in of currencies, if any of it is counterfeit, I would imagine they're obliged to take it. And there's not really anything you can do about it because it's no good. Now, whether or not he's asking, would they tell you it's phony just because they want to keep it? I suppose that goes to the bank, but I don't think that they would do that. They want it to be real because I believe any currency, if they deem it as bad, then it'd be bad for them too, because it is going to be noted, the denominations, the number on it, etc. So, Iko, did you have a comment you wanted to make? I see you're in.
Well, on the counterfeit issue, or not trusting the banks, I would trust the banks to do whatever is best for the bank. to jeopardize their licenses, especially the banks that are going to be handling the ZIM, to do something devious or underhanded, it's such a risk for the entire organization that I don't think we have to worry about that. If somebody says our currencies or bond notes are counterfeit, they probably are, and there is a way to verify that through other means. You'd probably have to hire an attorney who specializes in things like that. But if you wanted to double check what the bank ruled, you probably could.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't. Just a general comment. There are definitely going to be scams out there, but they're going to be by individuals and organizations that you may or may not have ever heard of, not the not the mainstream institutions. They've got too much to risk. And one thing I have a good friend who is a banker, and I've known him for years. And one thing that he said is that the bank never makes a mistake. If it does, there are a multitude of redundant checks that will eventually weed out the mistake, if there is indeed one. If you do a formal complaint to a bank through an attorney, you're guaranteed that it's going to get paid attention to very quickly, because they don't want to jeopardize any of their, whatever you want to call it, institutional licenses or agreements with state and federal institutions.
You know what? I think that's a perfect answer for that question too, because of exactly what you said. I mean, there are too many laws on the books in all countries on for bankers that they have to adhere to, and their license would be in jeopardy for many different reasons. Fraud is one of them, so I doubt that they would do it. All right, thank you. We'll go to the next question, and that is from Seagood. Prior to the 800 numbers, we've been told to list all of our currencies in our trust. So if at my appointment the bank's Delarue machine determines that some are counterfeit, how do I remove those I have already listed in my trust? Does a bank official need to also validate the change? Snake, are you on here that you can answer that question?
I don't know, Bill. I would think that if there were some that was counterfeit, what if the bank just wrote a letter stating that so and so this amount of currency was not good? Would that not suffice?
I would think so. That's going to probably be up to each individual bank how they would handle that. And I'm not sure if a Delarue machine will determine whether it's counterfeit or not. Maybe it does. I'm not sure. We were discussing Delarue. Yeah, I would think it would, but we were discussing Delarue machines 6, 7, 8 years ago.
You know what? I don't know how the banks work I don't know how they work there either. But what if, unless, of course, we have boxes of currency, what if we could take some currency that we have to the bank and ask them if they could just put it through the Delarue machine before we this even RVs?
Oh, that's a possibility. Oh, I see. They might. I see. Paul, are you on right now?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Thank you, sir. How are you?
my question is, this is Paul from Iowa. My question is, in this redemption thing, do you really have to open up a trust account, or can you just put it in a plain account?
Well, my answer to you would be that you will have a long time following your redemption to set up whatever trust accounts or whatever accounts you want to, and that's one of the main jobs the banks will have, and they will help you out. Again, I don't think they're there to screw you around. I think they're there to help you. They want to make money. You just have to get some financial advice from somebody separate from the bank.
Because I don't want the bank to have control of my money is why I was asking that.
And that's a good point. And I think we've had this discussion many times from many sources, and that they've always tended to say you will have an opportunity to do whatever you want to with your exchange currency. After the exchange, it can sit for a while. You don't have to rush in to do anything. So I think that you will have an opportunity to meet with fiduciaries, with other people that are skilled and trained to do whatever trust you want to do, investments you want to do. I think what we've been told by the people that are doing a lot of this stuff behind the scenes is don't jump into anything. Be careful and take care of yourself first. Okay?
Yes, I knew that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks, Paul. I think that was a good question and a good answer, I hope. So, again, the banks aren't there to hose you around. They're going to be there to help you. Okay, here's another question from Country Girl 70. Some gurus are saying that the bad guys must be arrested before the GCR RV can happen. With there being so many to arrest, how can this possibly happen anytime soon if arrest must be made first? Well, I don't think they can arrest everybody. I think they have to reach a point where they're happy with where they're at, and then just go ahead and take care of business. We're going to need some people left to do that business. They can't arrest everybody. I don't think. I hope not anyway. Iko, did you have, or Sonny, did you have any kind of comment on that, or anybody on the board?
Yeah, I guess I have a general comment.
Okay.
Which probably some folks aren't going to like, but I'll put it out there anyway. I've been in this since 2013, and for a while I was let's call it a wannabe guru. I had a lot of information. I knew how to speak well. I did a phone call for a while. And then what I realized is that I was simply regurgitating probably, half rumor and half fact. And my own opinion now of any guru who is out there that is having a phone call is they you have to take everything that they say as if it is through at least a third or fourth level filter from what is actual fact surrounding the revaluation of currency worldwide. Therefore, you're including or basing your own interpretation of what you're hearing. You're a fifth or sixth level filter on that information, which cannot be accurate. Any business or life experience tells you that if enough people, it's the old circle thing. If one person, you're in a circle of 10 people, and you tell a secret to the person to your right, and then they repeat that secret, and they repeat that secret. By the time it gets around the circle, it's completely different. You may not even recognize the information. That's human nature. It's not wrong. It simply is. So what I would say these days I guess I came to this conclusion about 2 years ago, that the gurus are worth listening to on occasion, just to get what the general feel is for the RV world or universe. But you always need to be conservative and reserved in what you come away with from that information. So, without trying to lose my train of thought here, there is enough mainstream information, and I don't mean from CNN and Fox and mainstream media. I mean, if you do your due diligence with the stuff that's out there on the internet, you can put together a fairly accurate picture of where things are at. But it does require work. You can't be lazy about it. And and it's for me, it's become a full-time job. Now I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry, folks. That's just a right brain mind trying to interpret what is basically a left brain world. Yeah, I'll stop.
Iko, what we have discussed ourselves between the two of us in the past is simply that there is, just as you said, there is a ton of information out in the public that tells you what's going on.
Yes, it does.
And it tells you that all through this last year, through Christmas and into now, that no matter what the people were saying that was going to happen, it was clearly not going to happen, simply because the circumstances required for it to move forward were not there. So,
yes, the system hasn't actually crashed. It's being.
Hello.
There are a multitude of band-aids.
I'm ready to ask my question.
Okay, hold on a minute there, 712. Hold on a minute. Let's finish what we were talking about right here, and then we'll get back to your question, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and I think, there's been so many theories banded around and so many discussions about, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and once that happens, then we'll be ready to go. I got Snake trying to come in. Anyway, Snake, if you're on there, I'm just do a question, and we're in the Q&A session right now, and I'll pick you and let you come on. Okay. Because I think he's got good information as well. But the long and the short of it is that we are not there yet. Close, but there's a lot of things that need to happen that have not happened. We are in a situation that requires for possibly hard times for about 3, 4, 5, 6 months, even after the RV GCR occurs. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's get to this caller's question. Caller 712.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
My thought is the Delarue machines, don't the casinos have Delarue machines that will tell you whether or not something's counterfeit?
You know, that's a very good point. You might be absolutely correct on that.
Well, you see, here's the thing. If I took my currency into a Delarue machine and any of it was counterfeit, I'd want to take that currency back, and I would go to wherever I bought it, and they would either exchange it for real currency, or I would be using a 3-pound sledgehammer. And I'll tell you what.
Your point?
Yeah. There ain't nobody going to cheat me out of my just reward. I've been in this thing since 2009, and that's 10 years of waiting. And somebody sells me counterfeit money, they're going to wish they hadn't done that. I'll tell you for
what?
sure.
You know what, my friend, I don't think there's, when you're buying it from certified dealers, I don't think you're going to have any problem there. And most of the Internet dealers, like on eBay and stuff, I think most of them were also certified and licensed to deal in currency. So if you bought it off the Internet and you bought it from a certified dealer and a licensed dealer, I don't think you're going to have problems. It's when you're getting it from,
somebody selling it.
Yeah, somebody selling it. That's what you need to worry about it.
No, this was from a bank that's no longer in operation. But I think I can track the feller down that was selling the currency, and by golly, I'll tell you what, it better be legitimate.
I think you'll have. Yeah. Remember, banks buy their currencies from other banks. So they get it from a clearinghouse, so they should have no problems. You shouldn't have any problems.
Well, I'm sure hoping not.
All right.
I went to the Harbor Freight and bought myself a 3-pound sledgehammer with a hickory handle. And I'll tell you what, ain't better nobody gonna cheat me out of my money, because I'm gonna get even with them if they do.
You know what, young man? I don't think you're going to have a problem. You won't need to use it. But thanks for the question. We'll go on to our next person. Thanks again. Okay, the next question was, will the call number be posted in chat? If there is an 800 number, yes, it will be. And that's still a big if. No one knows for sure. Okay? All right, so next question was, do you think this must be a secret because of security, and that is why all the disinformation? Because of any minute, because...
Bill, do you realize you just shocked everybody saying we may not have 800 numbers. Oh my God, Bill!
Well, I've been saying that for quite a while. Now, if you're not, you need to listen. Nobody knows if we're getting 800 numbers. We don't know. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I'd like to add something to that, Bill.
Go ahead.
There may not be 800 numbers, but there will be communication on where and how you can exchange your currency. Remember, the banks want you to come in and exchange that currency because they will make a commission on top of whatever exchange rate you're quoted. They've got deals amongst themselves. It's a huge brokerage operation. So don't worry. You will know when it's time, and you will know where to go.
Exactly.
But it may not be an 800. May not be an actual 800 number. That was that may have been an oversimplistic explanation of what was going to happen, perpetrated by the early gurus. That is very attractive. It's an attractive concept to think about. Yeah, we're going to get an 800 number, but it may not be that simple.
That's
and
for sure.
You may not walk out of it, and you may not walk out of a 2-hour meeting. That's the other thing too, that people have to be prepared and be professional about. The bank is not going to screw you because they've got too much to risk. But it may be that if you don't have verified currencies, like if you're not in a group, if you're just coming in off the street and you've got a fistful of dinar or a fistful of dong or rupee or whatever, it may take longer than a couple of hours to verify. It may be 4 hours, it may be 4 days, but that's okay. You're not going to get cheated out of your money as long as you go to a legitimate financial institution.
Thanks, Iko. That's an excellent observation, too. And I'm sorry if I just skipped over that about the 800 numbers, but that's just, we don't know. No one knows. We'll find out when it happens. Okay. Now, when I was going through this one, do you think this must be a secret because of security? This is why all the disinformation, because of the any-minute predictions, people are getting so discouraged and wonder if this will ever really happen. So many of my friends have walked away. Were the gurus hand-selected by choice? Are they doing it, calls and posts, etc.? And that was from, let's see. That was from Minnie Mouse. Okay. Gurus are gurus because they chose to be gurus. They chose to open a website. They chose to get on calls and do them time after time after time. I chose to open the website 4 years ago now because I didn't like all the information that was coming out. That's wrong. I misspoke there. I wasn't real keen on how it was being presented. A lot of these guys have good contacts and gals, and they are being given information basically just to keep you happy. That they don't want you walking off because they want that currency. And if you put it in a drawer somewhere, they're not going to get their hands on it. So it's a way for them to keep you positive, to keep you groomed for the time when it does occur. And, there's some good people out there that are running these calls. There really are. But sometimes they're giving some bad information. I hope that answers that one. Okay, then we got one from BC. Are you going to talk about what drives the RV, or will it be more of the same stuff that agencies put out to pacify people, i.e. guru crap? Let's talk about the real stuff. Well, we are talking about the real stuff. I'm not going to say it's going to happen today, tomorrow, whenever. It will happen when it happens. And there are some good things going on right now. But that's not something I would just come out and say it's going to happen on such and such day. And because personally, I care because there are people that are suffering, but at the same time, it's not my function to give you a date or rate because I don't know it. Nobody knows it. All right. Now there's another one. How about asking Tony, Bruce, and Mark Z to come on and clarify what they feel to tell us every week, and that intel sources say we are close and a date has been set, but they want it to be done by the weekend. That, in my opinion, that's probably what they're being told for the same reason we just talked about. They believe it to be true. Bankers believe it to be true. Why would a banker put out information if it wasn't what they had been told? I don't know if Thirsty Tiger or Snake is on. If you are, let me change this from Q&A. Okay. Okay, so if you are there, Iko, you're still on.
Right.
The Snake, if you're there, just unmute yourself, *6, and then come on. Thirsty, if you're there, do the same, or anyone else that would like to address that, please come on. What drives the RV? What about Tony Mark, etc.? Well, as many people that don't say anything that come in that know a lot of information, sometimes far more than the gurus do, they are given the same kind of information that the so-called gurus get. They just don't pass it on because they're far more careful about how things are disseminated. Okay.
Bill?
There you are, young feller. How are you?
I'm sorry. I've been trying to figure out how to unmute myself.
Well, it probably helped when I moved it over to the muted, unmuted stuff.
That's never been an issue for me in the past, but it sure was today.
Can you address that?
I'd like to make a couple of comments, if I might, about some of the questions that are being asked.
Certainly, please do.
Everybody's concerned about whether they're going to get an 800 number or going to get an email or going to get some other method to be identifying the fact that the currency is now subject to being exchanged. My suggestion for everyone that has a current banking affiliation with a bank that actually does currency exchanging, that you take one bill of each currency you currently have in possession, call the branch office manager of your local bank and ask for an appointment. Go in there with the supposition that this guy has been told everything that's going on with all these currencies is a fraud. And you approach it with the fact that, hey, you may have been told by your upper management that this is all a smokescreen, a fraud. It's not going to happen. And that may be true. But I'm here today to ask you one serious question. You have on your desk right now a $25,000 dinar, a $100 million, whatever all these numbers are, the Zim, the Dong, and you're going to know possibly 20 or 30 minutes before I do that these currencies are going through the global currency revaluation. So my question to you is, sitting in this office, looking across the street at another branch of a different bank or down the street at another bank that's a different branch from yours, are you willing to contact me when you know that this, in fact, is going to occur, and let me schedule an appointment with your exchange department to bring the number of dollars of currency that I have in these various denominations in here, with the understanding that once I have the money in my account, it's going to be your bank, your bank's wealth managers, your bank's trust department, this and that and everything else that I'm going to be dealing with. If you're not willing to do that for me right now, then I'll go for a different bank. And then shut up. Don't say another word. Let them speak next.
That's the key to it. Shut up. Let them talk.
Let them talk for sure, because
that's excellent advice. Excellent advice.
I have a banker that I dealt with. I opened an account in 1971. She was a trainee as a teller in 1971. She ended up running her branch bank and 5 satellite banks before she retired. This lady couldn't buy currency and remain working for the bank because they had come in with some kind of instruction, you cannot get into this and stay with this bank. So she sent me to her CPA husband, who fortunately we had a couple of common clients. So I had his attention. They own currency like I do. And when she retired, she introduced me to the banker that was sent from the West Coast to Texas. He's in charge of Texas Exchange Centers plus 4 other states. He is who we're going to go visit with whenever this thing is subject to exchange. And he was sent from California to Dallas 2 days after Christmas, assuming that this thing was going through before New Year's. He's mad as he can be because he missed an entire New Year's celebration with his family and his wife primarily because he was in Texas. He's still in Texas. He still believes that we're just days away from this going, but he can only tell me what they're telling him, which has already been pointed out. These guys don't make this stuff up. They're in a business to separate us from our money. That's what bankers do. And so he's eventually going to call me. I'm not going to have to wait on an 800 number because of the steps I've already taken sitting down with a bank. So my suggestion again, folks, take one each of every dollar or every currency that you own, call your bank manager and make an appointment, not just walk in his office. I'd like to come visit with you about some financial matters. Can you set aside 20 or 30 minutes for me to visit and tell me when I can come in there to see you? And go do just what. And if he's got a foreign exchange department, ask that manager after a few minutes that you're with the bank manager, ask that he bring his foreign exchange currency department head in there, and you can go over all of it with the both of them, and get a commitment that they're going to give you a call as soon as they know this is a viable deal. We're going to exchange 2 days from now or yesterday or tomorrow. But you're going to get the call from a bank telling you, come on in here and see us. That's my play, Bill. I'm sorry if I took too much time.
Yeah, thanks very much. I appreciate it. I had to unmute myself. I was just listening to you, and as usual, it's excellent information. But you have information posted in Winsome, don't you, about financial stuff, as do other people. Is that correct? It's still there.
I do. It's what I suggested, and it's been a couple of years now, I think, but I put in a 15, 17-page financial planning questionnaire. And I recommended back then that you sit down and complete that questionnaire. It asks you all sorts of things about what your risks and rewards and obligations might be, But the idea being, even if you got lots and lots of money, some of your basic risk-reward ratios are not going to change because you're concerned with, how do I not outlive my money? You fill one of those things out now because that's the same thing a wealth manager, a financial planner is going to ask of you when he sits down with you once you have your currency exchange. You complete one of those now, even though you don't have all the money you're hoping to have. But it gives you an understanding and an idea of what can occur and the types of issues that you're concerned with, educating your kids, your grandkids, leaving money to other people, taking care of a sick relative, whatever it happens to be.
Excellent.
Go ahead. Yeah. The other thing that's in there is the 4 kinds of money and the 6 problems with money. It's pretty basic stuff. There are only 4 types of money, believe it or not. And there's only 6 things that can go wrong with money. And so you get an understanding of so when you're talking to a wealth manager, an investment banker, financial planner, whatever you want to call us these days, he's going to ask you questions, and you're going to have some familiarity with what the heck he's talking about. Fixed assets or equities or over-the-road leasing equipment, whatever it happens to be. But to me, it's critical that you become somewhat familiar with the terminology so that when you finally do sit down with somebody that's going to go over where you are and where you want to go, you're not going to be hit with stuff you've never heard of before. It's going to be something you've at least read about.
Thank you. Can I ask you one question? And that is simply, what is the definition of a fiduciary and what is their responsibility, and can you find them in the banks?
A fiduciary has a legal obligation to protect you above everything else. They're required, and yes, you can find them. Not every banker is a fiduciary, but it's just an additional license that you end up obtaining. Requires you to have an E&O insurance policy and take certain fiduciary educational courses. But your obligation as a fiduciary is for you to do everything possible to make whatever decisions are made to the benefit of the client, not to the benefit of the firm or to you personally. You have a fiduciary responsibility to act. Can't think of all these terms now. The good man law. There's a number of different terms they use, but yeah, you can find fiduciaries.
Okay, that I knew that was it, but some people don't, and I want to make sure they did. Okay, let's move on to this next question from DP Champ. Recommendations.
Professor Florida.
What was that?
Professor Florida.
Is that 561?
Yes.
Go ahead. You have a question? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Iko.
Hey, long time no speak.
How are you? I just wanted to add a couple of thoughts to the other gentleman's remark about working with the bankers. I did something similar some time ago, but I did something else. I said, if you will tell me, and I left an envelope with 3 bills with it, then I said, here's an extra bill for you personally. When it occurs, this is yours. Call it a form of bribery, but it opened up some eyes. They said, you really believe in it that much? I said, absolutely. So it was just a way of getting their attention, and I did that with 2 banks.
I bet it got their attention, too.
Oh, yes. But this way, what's in it for me personally? And this way they can say they did not buy it, they did not break the company rules. It was a gift. That
probably worked, too.
Yes,
Thanks,
and by the way, I have a greater concern which most people do not have. We're going to be sitting in front of people who have, I'm going to call it the best marginal training. Male and female. Who knows what kind of gender, denomination, whatever the case may be. And as long as we have potentially variable rates at any of the currencies, I am concerned about how they will decide what rate they will give us. By our looks, by our shirt color, by the type of shoes we have on, I don't know. Because they're all human beings. And so I am concerned. You like that one, Iko?
Well, actually, I've got a few things to add to that.
Good.
Which
but
goes
anyway,
back.
that's my concern of the type of person I'm going to be working with. And that's all I have to add.
Going back to, was that Snake who was just on or still on?
Yes.
Hi, Snake. Something you said is one of the lessons I learned in business the hard way. And that's why I reacted to it. When you said, shut up and listen.
Amen.
Yep.
I was in what they call Class A union construction in Manhattan. I dealt with the biggest and the baddest and the best in the construction industry. And
presidential material?
I was coached one day in a negotiation meeting to stand my ground, state my price, and then shut up. And it wasn't put to me in as polite terms as that. And I did. And I was sitting at a table with maybe a dozen people who all had a financial stake in the project and the decision makers of the construction management firm. And finally, one of them spoke and offered what was not quite double, but close to what I wanted for the project, because he assumed that was my price point because of the other people at the table. They wanted me to do the job, but I was the new guy in town. So, so there it was, a life lesson learned. And part of that is, I believe there is a myth that was put out early on that we would not be able to have professional representation come with us to an exchange meeting. I think that is probably false. I believe, and put it this way, my lawyer says it's definitely false. Now a lot of us aren't going to have the $5,000 or $10,000 to throw at a good financial attorney to accompany us to a meeting. What you want to do though is, beg, when this is real, when we are definitely allowed to go and exchange, and you've got whatever, $1 million or $2 million worth of currency, or $50 million worth of currency, it doesn't matter. Find a way to retain an attorney. Give him a limited power of attorney specific to that meeting, and have what amounts to a financial hitman bodyguard go with you to that meeting. The banker is going to immediately treat you at a completely different level. He's not going to try to pull any fast ones, if he's even allowed to pull a fast one. Probably he isn't. Probably the higher-ups have said, okay, this is the exchange rate. This is the range that you're allowed to negotiate at your meeting. But all that aside, don't be afraid to do what is best for you. It can't hurt. All they can say is no and give you specific reasons why they can't have an extra person at that meeting. But if you don't do it, you won't know. And you don't want to be the newbie in the room. Even, again, they probably are not well trained at a certain level. But if you go to a legitimate firm like, I'll pick one out, Abbott Downing, which is the 10 million plus. Actually, I think it's 30 million now plus over there at Wells Fargo, financial advisors. They are all fiduciaries. They will tell you that. They're very proud of that at your initial meeting. But again, don't listen to all of the rumors that have been put out over the years about what you can and cannot do at your exchange meeting. And if you ask a legitimate banker what the rate is, he, by law, has to tell you what the maximum rate is he is allowed to offer. That That's a fact. Ask any attorney. That is a fact. He's got to do that. If you don't ask him that, then yes, can he say, well, they're getting, throw a number out, they're getting $4, four gold-backed dollars for every dinar that you bring into the meeting. They may offer you 3. Hey, it's a business deal. They have every right. But if you ask them specifically, what is the maximum they're allowed to offer, they have to tell you that. And it's little things like that that the majority of us don't know the right questions to ask, don't know what our rights are as the consumer of these financial products. So it's always good to involve an expert if you can. It's a great idea to fill out that form that Snake mentioned. It's practice. You don't go into a baseball game and hit a home run. I mean, you might if you've got raw talent, but you have to learn how to hit the ball. That takes practice. And anything you can do to practice at the meeting, including, involving your spouse or involving your best friend or whatever, have them play devil's advocate with you. Don't go in cold. Enough said.
Good advice.
Number 7.
Yeah,
Hello?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for taking my call. I just want to mention a quick bank story that I have in Port Angeles, Washington State, and it was Chase Bank, and I've been purchasing my dong currency there for a while, and I did bring one of my Zim notes, bond notes there, and they did check it out, and they said it was authentic. Let me see what else. They also said that because so many people were asking about the reset and the currency exchanges, that they had a list, that you could be on the list, and the banks would call you as soon as this thing was ready to go for appointments. So I think you could ask that of your managers there. Another thing that he mentioned was that the reset wouldn't happen until Iraq, always back to Iraq, until they went international. So I just wanted to share that. And one other thing, just quickly, I remember, because I've been in this since 2013, they did mention when you did call to let them know who you are, who were you bringing? And, your family member or, an attorney or something like that, but they needed to be on the list. I don't know if that's changed, but I thought I'd just put that out there. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Appreciate your input. Thank you so much. Okay, let me go to a question here. This was one that's been brought up before. Recommendations on having each currency in a separate bank account is and you want to hold back 50% just in case of taxes. That would mean at least 2 accounts may need to put some in each different bank. So for each currency, I had a discussion with that with one of our people. I don't know if she's here now, Tax Bomb. But again, we have still not heard whether there's going to be any kind of tax obligation on this at all. But we must assume that there will be. That's what we got to do. So that was an answer to that question. Also, what about having our funds insured since so much beyond what has been covered in the past? Are there laws going to be changed? That we don't know. I have not heard of any that are going to be changed. However, once you get money dangling in front of our Congress, they seem to be able to snatch it any way they can. So just be ready for anything. Keep posted. And this is the thing that we were talking about earlier. There is a vast amount of information that is available from different sources, the internet, but particularly from the financial news networks, the financial news. They pay close attention to what's going on. So if you listen, read, educate yourself, you'll find out that there's a lot of things going on in the background that you're not going to hear on your CNNs, your Fox Newses, CNBC, or anything like that. Okay? There's another one from Snickers. I hope the call is short on another history lesson and long on what meat of what appears to be a consensus. So many of the knowers, that's the 5th and 7th is it. Okay? So, okay. Snickers, if you think we've covered a lot of stuff, let us know if you're on here. Hope so. So we got that one. Okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I got a question for you. I was just told a couple minutes ago that, I can't remember who was on here before talking about the taxes on here. I was told we only get tax on the interest of the currency. And I was wanting to know also, how the FDIC will insure you for $250,000. What will the FDIC do when we put very large amounts in these bank accounts?
Well, I'd say they won't be covering it. That's way too much money for a corporation like that to cover. So there are other ways to handle your funds and guarantee that it's protected. Snake, did you want to comment on that?
Lloyd's of London.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Now, if I could say something about the FDIC, they have probably 20% insurance on what is the total deposits in the banks today. They're probably covering 20% of the total deposits. If you go back to 1929, over 5,000 banks failed in this country in the Depression, and the people that lost money in those banks didn't get it back till the beginning of World War II in 1940 or 41. So Lloyd's of London will be an ideal place to, and you don't have to do it for very long. Let me, if I might, just say a couple things about banks. Their biggest issue is their greed. They want to keep you and keep your money with them as far as they can. And you want to let them believe they're going to do that as you go in there to do your exchanges. You're going to stay with them because they're the best thing that ever happened to you in what you relate to them. But I'm not going to leave a whole lot of money at all in any bank once this thing gets done. But they're going to have it for a while. I've already got trust set up and foundation set up, and I'll take the money into one account, and then internally, I'm going to direct the banker to journal funds from this account to the other accounts that are in existence. And as soon as all that funding is moved around, I'm going to cancel the bank account that the money was initially transferred into, simply because I don't want them ever having the opportunity to reverse that wire transfer.
Thank you. You're right.
So you're going to want me to bypass the FDIC and get Lloyd's of London?
If you want
say that again.
To protect your money while it's in the bank, you're going to have to go to a company such as Lloyd's of London or some other similar, and insure the account, because FDIC, they don't have anywhere close to what's on demand deposit today in insurance.
True.
And there are limits. There are limits for the FDIC that Lloyd's of London doesn't have to deal with.
Lloyd's of London is a separate entity, and you buy an insurance policy to guarantee your funding. It's going to cost you, but you won't lose anything because you got an insurance policy behind it.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's go to the next question. And that is, will recent political events in Iraq stall the RV? Hearing there needs to be some kind of real...
Bill, I'd like to input something if I can.
100% no to that. But yeah, I don't think so. I think that's this is being held on a level that's that supersedes anything going on in one particular place. So we'll see. We'll see. But I don't think so. Comment?
Yes. Can you hear me, Bill?
I can, yes.
Yeah. Bill, one other thing I wanted to talk about that I thought somebody would bring it up and nobody has. On the 800 number, should we get an 800 number? It will more than likely go to a call center. It won't go to one person at a time. It'll go to a call center with about 40 or 50 people, and they'll have a said script based on where you're at as to what bank they're going to send you to. Do not, and I can't overestimate. Do not enter into a conversation with them about how much currency you have. Only thing they will require to know is the type of currency you have. You would say dinar, dong, zim, whatever you have. But don't enter into them with a bunch of questions, because it's just going to hold it up for everybody else. And like I say, these are going to be call centers with 40 or 50 people in them. And they've got a set script. Having worked in a call center, I know how that works. You'll call 1-800 number, but you're going to a room with about 50 or 60 people in it, at least. So I just want to put that in and encourage people not to engage with anybody about the exact amount of your currency unless you're talking to a banker.
That's a very, very good point. Thank you. Very good point. Okay, let's see. Who we got next here? Next question. See, that one I can't make out. Okay, here's one here. Sorry, some of those I couldn't make out. I copied them and it didn't work out. Does the gold asset-backed system have to be implemented before or at the same time, or could it happen after the RV? Does GCR mean it's already happened? I heard Bruce was saying money's gotten from the exchange, cash would be fiat. How could this happen unless every single country would be on board? That was Minnie Mouse, and that's a good question, and it can't. That would be my answer. That is to say, it has to be go back or asset backed. Okay. Here's another one. Is NESARA a possibility? If so, will some debts be forgiven? My husband borrowed from his 401k to pay off some of our debt. So will people not on the debt benefit from this debt forgiveness as well? NESARA has been kind of one of those things that people believe or don't believe. But in the past few months, 6, 7, 8 months, there seems to be, at least for my life, some evidence that possibly some of the aspects of that may be real, but we don't know. Okay, anybody want to comment on that? Okay. Let's see then. Let's go to this question. If the asset or gold-backed currency as in the USN.
Whoa.
Hey, Bill, I think you need to do a group mute again.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's get back to what I was saying. If the gold asset-backed currency, as in the USN or the the note, does happen, is it scheduled for phase 2? Then what? I'm not sure what that question is referring to. So if it's gold back, then that would have to be announced. I know there's a gold agreement that's been signed, and that was signed a while back, but gold back means it's actually in place, and I have not heard anything to that would substantiate that. Is anybody? And remember that we could be sitting on it. Who knows? We don't, but we could. Let me get my list back. Mm-hmm. Hang on just a second. Oh, there we are. Okay. All right, so then we have another one that I heard that, and these were offline questions. They came from text messages or whatever. I heard that President Trump was going to sign off on the GCR weeks ago, but then the possibilities of a computer algorithm was set into motion to monitor and trigger the release. I think that came from several of the gurus or the phone calls that were being done, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that there is an algorithm. There may be, but it may be in conjunction with someone else monitoring that algorithm as a backup. I don't know. And here's another one. Is there any connection with the GCR and the SARA? I think we found, we just brushed over that a little bit. I don't know. There may be. Then one here, I have heard that there are hidden caches of gold and other hard assets that have been hidden for decades, if not hundreds and hundreds of years. Has anyone heard the same thing? There's always those kind of rumors. Who knows if they're true? What is the difference between the RV and a GCR? Anybody want to catch that one? What's the RV? It's a reevaluation of a currency. So what's the GCR then? It would be the mass RV or global currency reset. In other words, all currencies either had a reevaluation, and that could be by decreasing their value or increasing their value. It would be basically to level the playing fields of all countries worldwide. Are there going to be different baskets? Why would one currency go before another? That is up to those folks that are doing it. Could there be more than one basket? Yeah, we've heard that. That's been discussed over and over again in the last 7-8 years. That's a possibility. That's always a possibility. Now, do we have any other questions that would like to address? If so, unmute yourself and ask away. I think it's *6 or #6. I'm not sure which one.
Can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Okay, what I was told that there's going to be at least 2 baskets. That's what I was told. And I was told the second basket would be later on. And I think, if I'm right, the first basket is done.
Okay.
And you were right on the RV. That's what it stands for. And the GCR, you're right on that, too.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's nice to be right once in a while. Go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, what was the question now?
I just said if you had anything else. Do you have anything else?
Well, yes, I do. I'm talking to a friend of mine out of state, and this person knows a lot, and she told me that with the quantum system, you won't need insurance because the money will be safe in the quantum system.
Possibly. That's the new currency system. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, because I was told, you know, with the rate we're going to get, you know, which will be probably really high for some people, see, the money goes into our quantum system, and then we just get the interest. Well, then I was told that you will have to pay taxes on the interest. But with that high amount of interest, it'll be enough to get all of the projects done.
Oh, yeah. Where's it from?
And see, a lot of insurance companies, they like to, you know, I'm not saying that they will mess you around, but a lot of insurance companies like to not go by the law sometimes.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of changes coming around the bend here as far as how his currency is, how his money is being dealt with, both personally and through the banking systems and through the governments of the world. So we'll see.
I think the laws need to be changed, and then when the laws get changed, I think more people will feel safe about themselves and they can do more with their bankers.
Well, that's why this is happening. That's the whole point of this.
Because see, when the new government reset, everything will be different, and then they'll have to change a lot of the laws. And when they change the laws, after more people figure out what they're for, more people will feel safe about their money, and they will do more. They will do more.
Well, that's true, possibly. But always remember that the reason we're going back to that was a big one, Ken. Anyway, the reason we're going back to an asset-backed or gold-backed currency is so that we can bring prices back to a real level, so that the value of gold will be, it's non-changing. It doesn't change. Inflation is what changes our money. Sure. And that's caused by our central banking system or the fiat currency. So what we're doing is we're going back to a type of currency that is real. It doesn't fluctuate all that much, and you will have an equilibrium around the world where if somebody in one country is going to be paid basically the same thing as the same kind of skill set in another country. So an electrician in the United States will have the same income that an electrician in maybe Mexico. And that's the whole point of bringing this in and restoring goodwill, restoring a level of confidence in our governments and our currencies and our wealth as nations. And let's see if it happens. If it does, it's going to happen sooner or later. Hopefully it's sooner.
I hope you're right, and I think you might be right.
I hope so. Okay. let's see. Iko, did you have any comment that you wanted to add?
Yeah, but I can't.
Okay.
It approaches limits on what can be said and what can't be said.
Exactly. Perfect.
But I do think I'm trying to figure out how to put this. The GCR is going to mean that a dollar is a dollar, whether it's a ruble, a yuan, a dong, a dinar, a rupiah, a franc, a pound. Everything is going to be a dollar. That will release the stranglehold that the United States has on the oil market. That will nullify so many of the trade issues that we currently have. It's also going to, because human beings are wonderfully gifted and crafted and sneaky.
Yeah.
There will be new ways of cheating the system, which have not even been revealed or even thought of. But we will have the opportunity as currency holders, as bond holders, to create a new reality on the planet. It's going to be a wonderful thing to be part of. And
yes,
quite frankly, going to be very challenging to be part of.
Yeah.
And it could happen this weekend or it could happen next year. The reason being is that the system, the current fiat system, which is bankrupt, which if you do the research, it's all over the place. If you want a real-time lesson, just follow Deutsche Bank stock. Just follow it. Every month it gets artificially propped up, then it gets sold off, and the company is basically bankrupt. Then it gets propped up again and sold off because the derivative debt that Deutsche Bank owns, if Deutsche Bank went under, it would literally take the Western banking system with it. So they'll do whatever it takes to keep that stock or that company artificially propped up until the GCR is in full effect. And it's going to be messy in the beginning. It just is. It's a global change. It's planetary change. It's how everything operates is going to have to reinvent itself. So, personally, I'm excited. Other people are going to have the wits scared out of them. People who have a ton of money today aren't going to have anything tomorrow because it's all paper. It's all speculative. It's all inflated, especially those in the stock market.
Yeah.
Big changes, just tremendous changes, and what you can do is what all of us can do, regardless of what your higher power is, whatever you name it. Those of us who are Christians, we have our labels for it. But don't forget, it's a great big world out there. Everybody's got different philosophies, but it's all about the same thing. If you come from a place of love and respect, and I don't mean hippy-dippy bullshit, I mean genuine respect and honoring of your neighbor, you're going to come out of this just smelling like a dozen roses.
Well said.
You know,
yep.
And for whatever reason, we were all lucky enough or blessed enough to find out about this currency exchange and to be involved with it one way, shape, or form. So that's the closing statement from Iko's Ward.
Thank you. You know, I am privileged to know some really, really talented people that that the plans that they have for new technologies that are already here that will be changing the way we live and the way we do things and changing lives. As soon as this happens, you are going to see some incredible technology that's going to be released. I mean, I'm so incredible. If I hadn't have seen all the stuff that's been talked about, I wouldn't believe it. But it is there. It is coming. And it is going to produce, it's going to eliminate some jobs, but at the same time, it's going to produce many, many, many more. It's going to be a world changer. It's going to be a game changer. All of this is for our good, and there are some good people out there just standing by, and I am blessed to be part of it. And I hope that you guys just keep in mind that we will persevere and we will move forward, and it could, like I said, could happen anytime. We just don't have control over it. So I think that we've pretty much answered a whole bunch of questions, and might be time to let people off the call and just go back and enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope that this has been a educational call. I feel it has been. There's some good people. If anybody has any thing that they want to ask a question about right now before we hang up, please do so right now. Unmute yourself.
Hey, what is your first name?
Mine? Bill?
Yeah. What is
Bill.
it?
Yep. Bill, Bill. The things you get in the mail.
Oh. It's called Phil?
Yep.
Okay, my friend wanted to know. You did.
Yep, that's it.
You did.
Tell him I said hi.
You all did a really good job, even you, Phil. You're a really good narrator.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You bet. Thank
Very
you.
much. You're welcome. Thanks for coming in and sharing.
You bet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else that wants to say hi? You can, though.
One blessed.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Hey, doing well. I got a question for Iko if he's still there.
He's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Iko. Hey, you told me a couple of years ago, and I'm sorry I'm late to the call. You might have covered this, and maybe it's not even a thing anymore, but that you suggested to, if the yuan was at 6-1, to get as much of that as you can after the exchange. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, that no longer applies. That was an older understanding of the information that was out there.
Harry, come and sit down, please.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I kind of thought, but thank you.
Yep.
Hey, I do got a question. How can I get more of your conference calls sent to me?
This is the only one I've done. I haven't done one in about a year and a half, I don't think.
Okay. Now, if you have more, is this the same number that I can call you at, or?
Yeah, it will probably be this number, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Hello,
I'll keep it.
You're welcome.
Hello, Bill. This is Terry.
Hi, Terry. How are you?
I've been listening to you for the last hour or so.
Boy, you haven't fallen asleep, have you?
No, I haven't fallen asleep. I've been watching and listening, and I'm hearing everybody's commentary. We have some very exciting news that's getting ready to pop out. Looks like tomorrow, and
cool.
We should all be looking directly at what's coming in through the internet. I suspect that the 800 numbers will come out by this coming weekend, not now. But it's possible that they're telling me it could come out tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see how that comes. But the timing on everything I'm being exposed to says that it will happen starting tomorrow and full force by this coming weekend. So
I was told that, too, the other day, that I was told Monday night we will be informed of the 800 number sometime Monday night.
That is very true. I've spoken with 5 of the trustees for the 5 largest trusts on the planet. I happen to be, as Bill knows, a very well-connected person. They're all in unison. This is going down now. And within now being tomorrow. How far we go and how far it goes to get released funds, we won't know until Tuesday. But it will start to happen tomorrow.
Keep that champagne bottle on the rocks.
I'm going to have my fingers crossed, Terry.
Yeah. Well, I've been told this, 12 years, 13 years. And I kicked back for 5 years waiting on something materially to occur before I even got included into anything. But
yeah,
I have been with some very, very powerful people, very influential globally, and they all are in concurrence with what I'm hearing right now is that this thing starts tomorrow. So we'll see. I mean, I'd love to have this happen. But I just wanted to say you guys are all on the right track. I'm not sure about the tax issues that you were discussing. Very interesting way to perceive how they could initiate it and have it not really truly effective, because is that going to affect the humanitarian portion of the funds or just our personal portion of the funds? Because the income will be going to the humanitarian. The interest will also go into that for those funds also. So we'll have to wait and see how that all unfolds.
That's right. Thanks for coming on, Terry. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah,
have a good evening, guys.
Hi, Bill.
Hi,
Ben. This is E.T. Phone Home. What a wonderful call. Thank you so much. It was so good to hear everyone, you and Iko and Snake and Sonny's and Ted's prayer. It's just like memory lane. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, Phil. I really appreciate listening to you, Phil. You're a good man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You guys have a great evening. Hey, I want to know if McLaren's on right now. Did he get on?
I'm not sure about McLaren, but thank you, Bill, for having the call. This is Heart Lady J.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? I do have a question for Iko or Snake if they're still around. They talked about going to the bank and, having that relationship. Now, I live in a small town and have contacted my banker, was told that the currency exchange is either in another state or cross-state, which is about 3.5-4 hour drive to even get an appointment, much less try to talk to somebody who, when I called, they said, oh, that's a bunch of bunk, don't even pay attention to it. In a case like that, and I'm kind of locked in where I'm at for banking, what is a person like someone, that I have a situation, my son's the same way, my brother, what do? We wait for somebody to say, hey, there's call centers or exchange centers. I am a little concerned about that because although I've got the rest of the stuff done, having that contact to me is kind of paramount in having that good relationship to set up.
Do you have the ability to travel?
I do, but not very far because of my transportation. It's not very reliable.
Can you afford a plane ticket to another state?
No.
Okay.
Not currently.
Wish I could help you.
Have you ever robbed a convenience store before?
Unfortunately, the convenience stores know me. I mean,
right.
That was a good one.
Unfortunately, when you live in a small town and you've been here for so long, and my husband and I have been kind of in a food ministry for almost all of our lives, so everybody kind of knows if you need food and help, you come to our house. But it's the green stuff that we don't have a lot of. Food, yes, we're blessed by being able to grow as much as we do, and we're even blessed by the sheriff's department and police department with roadkill when a deer just happens to run into somebody's car. So we kind of laugh about it, but honestly, we don't turn down good stuff because we believe that it should go not to waste. And
is there a major bank within driving distance? In other words, a Wells Fargo or a Chase or
we've got a Chase,
one of those.
But their currency exchange department is in Chicago. So that's about a 3-hour drive. I'm in Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin.
No. There are definitely currency exchange branches of banks in Wisconsin.
And see, Wells Fargo and Chase both told me I'd have to go. Wells Fargo told me they didn't have it in Wisconsin. Chase told me I'd have to go down to Chicago. I actually went into the branch. So
okay, I have a feeling when this breaks that they will change their tune.
Okay. In other words, the country bumpkins, the country bumpkins don't know what's going on. So, and that's what I suspected because I actually talked to the international bankers, and when they said no, you have to go across state, I'm with BMO, and I thought, you guys are out of Canada. You're telling me you guys don't understand this? But apparently they're either totally kept in the dark or they just don't want to deal with it.
No, they have been kept in the dark. What all you need to do is when you hear that the opportunity is there to exchange to new rates, call Chase. If you have to call Chase in Chicago, fine, and tell them your problem, and then say, do you want my business or not? That's the key phrase.
Actually, I'd prefer not going with Chase, but
that's fine. That's fine.
But I mean, even if I've got to go to Wells Fargo, I mean, I know everybody's. Go right ahead. I'm up for suggestions, please.
If I could offer,
and they'll send somebody.
Okay.
They will pick you up.
Okay.
Yeah. I offer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm being heard or not.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me offer a suggestion to you.
Please.
Call the branch in Chicago with Chase and ask them to give you a name of a bank that they have a corresponding agreement with in your area. Didn't mean to make the dogs bark, but
I was going to say it sounded like my Catahoula. So.
Correspondent bank in your area of Wisconsin with some bank in Chicago. They have corresponding bank agreements, which means you may go to your local area to exchange, but they'll send somebody to that corresponding bank to do your exchange for you.
Okay, we do have a Chase in the neighboring town, which is about 5 miles away, and they had no clue. In fact,
they don't have. Small cities like that, they haven't been included in the loop. But believe me, once this goes, they will be. And all you need to do is to
call them
to find out who's your corresponding bank in your town. Because believe me, they do business with other banks.
And that didn't make any sense when I even talked to our international banker. They have to have corresponding banks in order to do business, you would think. He just, I swore his eyes glazed over like I was talking about sewing a skirt or something. It was just, you can see the glaze in people's eyes when they don't understand or don't care.
Well,
and you look at them and go, wake up.
If you'll go back to earlier in this call, take one bill each of all the currency you own. Put that on the banker's desk, one at a time, and say, you may not know anything about this. I know more than you know at this point. But if you want my business, you better figure this out and get somebody to contact me.
And I'm going to go back in with the new international banker that's come in the last year and a half and do that, because I did that at one point. And I was told what I held was an exotic currency and that would never have any value, and I could use it for wallpaper.
Yeah.
And I looked at the guy and said...
And when I'm done, I'll own you and your bank building, and then you can tell me how much you enjoy your job.
This guy wouldn't have come pick up doggy doo-doo in my yard. That's how much I thought of him when I left. And thank you for that, because I will call when this hits, or I will call Chase in Chicago and find out where their corresponding banks are up here, because if that's going to be probably my best option. And it's not just going to be for me. It'll be for, I've got a brother, I've got 2 sons that hold currency that I gave them, and they're going to need this also. So
they might just send a limousine out to you.
Yeah, that's very true.
Actually, if it's coming out of Chicago, I don't know if I'd want to get into it. It's gotten pretty nasty down there, and you don't know, and they don't tell you about all the violence that's going on, including with the cars and stuff that are not just getting shot up, but there's faulty stuff going on where they're burning up, and it's a mess up here, and that so there's times I think we should just have Lake Michigan wash over and take out that, Racine and Milwaukee, and start over. So.
Yeah. Jane, thank you so much for your question.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Bill, and thank you, everybody else. This has been very informative.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey, I've got McLaren. Did you unmute yourself or come in?
Yeah, hi, Bill. I'm with you.
Oh, there you go. You're on there? Okay. We're doing good. Doing good. I want to introduce McLaren. He is he's a world traveler. Actually, he's a pilot for a private airline that does a lot of private service for some pretty powerful and influential people. But that's the point. Beside the point, what I wanted him to talk about just briefly is his flights in and out of Reno and his ability to look and see how traffic has been there in the last week or so. Dave?
Yeah. I've been monitoring this for a few years, Reno. Over the last few weeks, oddly enough, Mondays have been very high. The rest of the time it's been averaged or above average. And today was, again, very, very high. Almost as high as I've seen it ever before. I haven't had time to research and see if there were some other things that might draw that traffic in. Try to do that as well. But I look and see who is coming in, and if the related type of businesses, seeing a lot of that. So it's kind of interesting based on what I'm hearing here tonight about everybody thinks that we're close. It's interesting that today it was so busy. Be curious to see what happens tomorrow, and I'll keep an eye on it and let you know.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And I'll let you folks know in the room then what he reports to me, because it's very interesting in watching and his perspective of, because it seems to follow along. Every time you hear about something that's happening in Reno, there is a tremendous amount of air flights from private companies, even from major corporations that are flying in and out of there. The same jet going in, coming back, going out, coming back again. Something that you would not think.
I'll just add to that. That of course, there's airline traffic, there's small planes and all that. I am only counting the ones that are corporate flights and that are potentially involved in stuff. Looking at the type of companies, finance, investment companies, and so forth. And that's the numbers I'm tracking, not everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for clearing that too. So very good.
I did have
I'm glad you got on the call.
I had a question now. Snake was talking about, I think it was Snake, about the small town banks are not going to know right now. Maybe it was somebody else. In a medium-sized town like Waco, do you think Wells Fargo would know by now if this is truly getting as close as everybody thinks it is? Anybody?
I think I can answer that for you, because I know there are people in the room that I chat with quite frequently that are connected to Wells Fargo as well as other banks, but they know what's going on. The higher ups know what's going on, and when the time is right and ripe, everybody will know what's going on, and that may not be that far away, I hope.
Yeah, hopefully.
All night.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
If I could add, they know they have been restricted from admitting that they know.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
I saw that a couple of years ago. I went into Chase here, and the manager of the bank took me in her office and said, asked me to explain what I was talking about. And then she asked what I had, and I started to explain, and she beat me to the punch and suggested, do you have this, and this currency? And I said, yes. And she said, how much do you have? I said, well, significant amount. She said, you're going to be a very wealthy man, but I can't say anything right now. Come back when it happens. And then I went to Wells Fargo a couple years ago. I told them what I was coming in for. I wanted to meet with a private banker. And I walked in. She took the liberty. She said, I've taken the liberty of bringing in a couple of the wealth managers to speak with you. And they heard what I said, and then I was, they were sitting there like they didn't know anything about it, but they were looking at each other when I'm explaining things that they couldn't believe. In fact, they said, how did you know that? And I said, I understand you were going through training recently. And they go, we just got that email. How did you know that? And so they don't want to admit it, like you said, but I think they know what's going on.
They do. Trust me.
Yep.
So I'm thinking maybe you go stop by again tomorrow and ask them again.
Wait till Tuesday. Wait till Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, they were very curious about it. They were. I had them on the edge of the seat. They were very, very interested in what I had to say. But then at the end, they just kind of said, they kind of wash their hands and say, well, we hope it all works out for you. We don't. Right, she said, as of right now, we're in a position that we don't believe it's going to happen. So we hope it works out for you and take care.
When this RV starts, I'm going global. I'm going to do the United States first, and I'm going to hit 2 other countries.
So you're going to travel?
Well, yeah, I'm going to fix up as many countries as I can, but I'm going to do my country first.
There you go.
And I'm going to buy me a new Learjet because I got it picked out, and I even got the name for it, and because I don't believe in commercial flying. And
that's the worst part of my job.
I'm just going to hit this with everything I got and get this whole country done first, and then I'm going to Australia, then I'm going to Canada.
Well, I tell you what, guys, it's getting on about 2 hours on here now, so I think we can wrap it up soon. But I would like to thank everybody. I also want to remember those that are having some significant problems with their lives right now, whether it's financial or physical or emotional. I want you to please just hang in there. We don't know when this is going to happen. I can't promise you anything. But if what we're hearing is good, if it is within the grasp of our president and the country of China and any others that are involved with this, maybe we'll see this sooner rather than later. I certainly hope so. So I want to thank Snake. I want to thank, let's see, where is everybody? Snake and Sunny Place and Terry and McCarran and, oh my goodness.
Iko.
Yeah, definitely Iko. Yeah, it's just been a great call. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. The best I've ever had.
You know what? It's the goal. My goal when I do one of these calls is not to blow smoke up your skirt. It's just to give people information so that you feel comforted. You feel like you made the right choice when you got this stuff. And there are some of us, myself included, that are going on 14 years in this. Some have been here a lot longer than that. And just be patient. That's all you can do. What you can't do is believe everything that's said on every call. That's why I recommend that you just back off and rest, breathe, get away from this. You don't know it when it happens.
I do got one small question.
Sure.
Is it possible you can buy more Zim?
That is a good question, and I don't know.
Because
I do not know.
If this goes to February, I'm going to buy one more big one.
Bill, if I can just interrupt for a second.
Certainly.
Is there anybody there that does know how Oki is doing?
I was on a call with him 2 days ago. He is doing much better than he had been doing, but he's still dealing with issues, and hopefully he's going to be okay.
Good. Thank you very much for that. That's very much appreciated.
Will there be a replay for this?
After about 20 minutes, he got winded and had to say he had to quit. He still has a breathing issue, but he's doing much, much better than he was.
That's good. So good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, that'll be something at the end of the call that a lot of people will be glad they hang on till the end to hear.
Yes. Yes, he's such
a good
man.
All right. Let's call it a night here. Again, I appreciate it for all of you for your participation.
Thank you very much, Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
For having the call.
You're welcome. And this is being recorded, so there will be a replay available.
Thank you.
Oh, good.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Good night, everybody.
Take care, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks to all for the input.
Thank you.
And Bill, thanks.
You're welcome, guys. Good night.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Chet. Good night, David.
Yeah.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Paul.
Good night.
You guys are sick.
You guys need to get back on vacation.
Later.
With what we've all been going through these past many years, you know what? It's okay.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
All right, I'm closing and stopping the meeting now. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.